Senator Day.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. The question implicit in this motion is whether young people should be able to access their superannuation savings in order to buy their first home. Well, the answer is yes, but not yet. Allowing access to superannuation now to buy a home will undoubtedly add to the demand drivers associated with the housing affordability crisis. And these demand drivers include record low interest rates, negative gearing, capital gains tax discounts, immigration, foreign investors, etc. Now, some have argued that it has been these increased demand drivers that have caused the housing affordability crisis in Australia, when anyone with a modicum of understanding of how markets work know that it is not increased demand that drives up prices, but lack of supply.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. I welcome this debate today. It is a good debate to have because there are issues around both the structure of superannuation and the matter of housing affordability. I don't think it's a matter that can be swept under the carpet. In response to this issue more broadly, I think it's sweeping matters under the carpet to say that housing supply is not an important component of the problem. It may not be the be-all and end-all. You may need targeted assistance, as all governments have provided to the more vulnerable in the community, but you do need to recognise, as has been recognised across the country and in many studies, the primacy of supply issues. They are very important.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President, and I rise and speak. And it's a great opportunity, and it's important work that the government is undertaking in this space. And I acknowledge Senator Day's foundation platform on this issue in coming to this Senate last July, and agree with him wholeheartedly that there are levers within the economy that should be released to make housing more recognises that housing affordability is a very real issue, and that's why we are having the debate. It's particularly a sensitive issue for young people and families, and one of the underlying causes of the decline of housing affordability is that of lack of supply. And as Senator Day and I know, in South Australia, most of the vast land tracts of the next development of land, the urban sprawl as we know it, is locked up by the state government. So that is a state government issue, and they have the ability to unlock that.
Now, one only needs to recall the massive increase in the demand for flat-screen TVs, mobile phones, laptop computers and tablets, the greatest increase in demand for products the world has ever seen. And yet prices fell. Why? Because supply was able to meet, in fact more than meet, supply exceeded demand.
There is this disequilibrium in the market that's been there for some time, and which Senator Day earlier in his contribution was seeking to draw some more attention to. So the Property Council of Australia, Glenn Byers, for example, says that a big priority needs to be to make sure there are more areas available for urban renewal along transport corridors, old industrial lands, town centres and other priority areas. Make rezonings quicker, increase potential for medium-density buildings in middle ring suburbs, strata reforms for redevelopment of old buildings, flexible zonings and the development assessment system that is cheaper and quicker. There's a whole variety of things that can be done.
This restriction of the supply of land on which to build new houses has led to skyrocketing increases in entry-level house prices, which then pushed up prices everywhere else. But, Madam Acting Deputy President, don't for a second think this was an unintended consequence. Just the opposite. Rising house prices was an intended consequence, a very deliberate strategy by state and territory land management agencies to produce windfall profits. Talk about intergenerational equity.
And red tape holds up the supply on housing and construction. As Senator Day knows, in South Australia, dealing with the approval process for subdivision and planning approval is an arduous task, a costly task, and its seemingly impermeability is is a complete disincentive to investment in that state, and the state Labor government would do well to reform that as soon as they possibly can. All that means is that we supply more land, and I mean basic economics, Mr Acting Deputy President. Increased land releases will improve affordability for both renters and home buyers.
What is important in this debate is that between the Commonwealth and the states in particular, there is more of a compact around addressing these issues in a holistic manner. As I said before, issues of demand for housing for particular groups can be met through targeted assistance, which is essentially an adjunct, if you like, to what we do through our welfare system. But we must not underrate the importance of the issue of supply in the housing market. It's important for us to get this right. No more xenophobia about the Chinese or others putting an impact on prices. That is not the focus of the debate. The focus of the debate is how you improve supply, how you have a better structure of incentives when it comes to demand. And may I say in this regard, when people talk about negative gearing and the rest, you have to look at both demand and supply effects. You can't do it in isolation.
As we all know, the best asset in retirement is to own your home. Most retirees these days own their homes, and their cost of living is a fraction of what it will be for Libby and Charlie and those of their generation who will hit retirement with either a mortgage or a rent burden. Restrictions on housing supply have made home ownership the privilege of the few rather than the rightful expectation of the many. Not only is this economically foolish, as former modest member Bert Kelly used to say, but it's also morally wrong.
Thank you, Senator Day. Your time has expired.